Hello, Falcons fans. I'm your host, Chase, and you're tuned into the Falcons Edge. Here, you're provided Falcons news and content from a regular Falcons fan like yourselves. Subscribe to the channel to continue to receive content about our beloved Atlanta Falcons. Don't forget to like the video and definitely comment down below so we can agree to disagree about the current Falcons moves and decisions. Today, we're going to be talking about the Falcons free agency / offseason. How did they do? They do well. We're going to end up grading them, and we're going to see how we think they went. All right, and that's next. So let's dive right on into it with the free agency. So the Atlanta Falcons picked up 15 new players to the team. Now, we're not talking about players that they re-signed or extended or anything like that. We're talking about 15 new incoming players from other teams. So that's a crazy amount of number. This is the biggest, I believe, offseason that I've ever seen from the Falcons, and I've been a Falcons fan for a long time now. So, wow, I'm excited about it. So, first, let's talk about the defensive. Let's list the players. Matter of fact, let's list the players. All right, so we have Bud Dupree, an edge from the Titans. Jesse Bates, a third safety from the Bengals. Jonnu Smith, a tight end from the Patriots. We have David Omanyata, D lineman from the Saints. Jeff Okudah, cornerback from the Lions. We have Calais Campbell, D lineman from the Ravens. We have Taylor Heineke, quarterback from the Commanders. Mike Hughes, cornerback from the Lions. Mac Hollins, wide receiver from the Raiders. Then we have Ethan Greenidge, tackle from the Saints. Then we have Tay Davis, linebacker from the Browns. We have Joe Gaziano, D lineman from the Chargers. You got Scotty Miller, wide receiver from the Bucks, and you have Caden Ellis, linebacker from the Saints, and also you have Joshua Miles, a tackle from the Cardinals. Those are the 15 players that we've picked up from other teams. A lot of them are from the Saints, I see. We'll talk about that later, right? All right, so let's get right into what I think about it. So I'm excited because we've picked up a lot of defensive players, and I believe we needed help in the defense for the past few years. We've picked up a lot of trench players that'll help us as well, because we only had Grady Jarrett. I mean, that's it. That's pretty much all we had. So now adding Calais Campbell, David Omanyata, those are people that could those are players that could help Grady out. Take some of the pressure off of him, because he's steady getting double teamed because he's the best player on the line. With that being said, Calais Campbell is a beast of a man, right? So they're not gonna know. Offensive linemen are not gonna know who to guard. Calais Campbell is gonna have to take two. Grady is Grady, so you're gonna have to take two from there. You only got one person left, and David Omanyata, I'm sure he can do what he can do, right? So it's just gonna be a problem on that D line, and I love it. That's what we need. That's what we need, right? You need to apply pressure to the quarterback. In this league, you have to get pressure to the quarterback. But getting pressure to the quarterback, it starts in the trenches, right? So getting pressure to the quarterback opens up everything else in the defense. The cornerbacks look way better because they don't have to sit there and run behind a wide receiver for 5-6 seconds. That's hard enough as it is. Hard enough to stick with these fast receivers, and you want them to stick with them for 5 seconds. When a quarterback has all day to to throw the ball, they're going to light us up, right? And that's what teams have been doing to the Falcons. Like it was ridiculous. We only had AJ Terrell, and it's like we didn't have anybody else to help out in the secondary. So that was just. But like I said, putting those players on that front line and getting pressure to the quarterback is really going to help our defense out a lot. It starts in the trenches, right? So getting to the cornerback, Jeff Okuda. He was a former first round pick, and I believe the same draft as AJ Terrell. He was with the Lions, and he didn't do that well from what I'm hearing. And when I do my research, he wasn't doing that well. But it could be just, the coaches and the scheme could be different. Now, coming out to Atlanta, I'm hoping to see that first round talent that they saw. And that would be a great help. Putting AJ on one side, Okuda on the other side, that'll definitely help out our secondary. And then on top of that, you have Jesse Bates holding down the top of the defense as a safety. I'm telling you, man, we're veteran presence, right? It's gonna be great if we can lock down the second. If we can lock down the secondary and those wide receivers can't really do much. And then we have the line applying pressure to these quarterbacks. We're going to be a defense that teams are going to have to start looking at, right? And I'm definitely excited about that. Like I said, defense is my thing, right? I coach middle school football, and I am a D-line coach. So it's just I have defense in my blood. So seeing this right now, it really excites me, right? Then also you have Bud Dupree. Oh man, he looks like a dog out there. I knew the name. I didn't know much about his. I didn't watch a lot of him. So when I looked at his highlights, y'all go look at his highlights. Man, tell me he doesn't look like a dog flying around, getting tackles and everything like that. They have him listed as an edge on here, but I believe he's actually an outside linebacker. Let me tell you, to get this guy coming around the edge, come on, man. I'm telling you, look at his highlights, check him out. I liked what I saw. So then pair that with Caden Ellis from the Saints, linebacker as well. He had 7 sacks as a linebacker last year. This 1 year. I'm telling you, if we can get that production out of him this year, along with everybody else that we have on the line and all the other linebackers that we have and everything like that already, I'm telling you, we're going to look crazy. I'm just excited. All right. So, and then we have Tay Davis, linebacker, and Joe Gaziano, another edge. I believe, who knows? I could be wrong. I believe they might be for a little bit of depth, making sure you have enough people on that D-line and filling that linebacker room up. But, it also could be competition for in training camp. So we'll see how that goes, see how they do in training camp. But as far as the defense goes, I'm loving it. This looked like a defensive free agency year for us. So I'm going to go straight into offense. I'm going to start again with the trench players because that's where it starts. It's in the trench. We extended Chris Lindstrom, which was a great thing. He did great things for us last year. And we re-signed Caleb McGarry. So we're solidifying the O-line. We're keeping the same guys we had from last year that did great, open up holes for the running backs and protecting Mariota and Ritter for the most part, So keeping everybody the same will help us out. Because when you start putting new people in and starting like that, it messes up the chemistry sometimes. And you got to get chemistry with the players around you, with your teammates beside you, and everything like that. So it's just I'm glad they kept everybody the same. Now, will they have some competition in training camp? Yes, I'm sure they are. But I'm excited to see that they kept everybody pretty much the same. We got the two old tackles, Joshua Miles and Ethan Greenidge. Like I said, they might be for depth. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But we'll see. All right. And then you have Jonnu Smith. Will he help out Kyle Smith? I believe so. Veteran tight end. Kyle Smith is already a freaking unicorn now, as it is, right? Who knows what could have been last season if he didn't get hurt. But listen, and Arthur Smith likes to run the ball. He likes to play out of running sets and everything like that, two tight end sets and stuff like that. So you put Jonnu and Kyle on the side, on the edges, and then that just helps Ritter out just tremendously. You have if you're gonna run the ball, you're gonna run the ball. If you're gonna throw it, you got Jonnu, you got Pitts, you got Drake out there. He has a number of people to throw to. I'm loving it. I'm loving how it's going. Then we picked up Mac Hollins. Will he be a number 2 to Drake London? I don't know. Zacchaeus left and got signed with the Eagles. So some people might have thought he might have been number 2 or whatever like that. But I think they might have signed Mac to see what he might do as a number 2 wide receiver. He's about the same height as Drake London. I think he's 6'3" or 6'4". So what could he do? I saw some of his highlights. He had a great year last year. No, I'm not gonna say great. He had a pretty decent year last year. So, I mean, we'll see. The draft is a few days away, so we might pick up a wide receiver, maybe a number 2 wide receiver out of the draft or something like that. Who knows? But, I mean, we'll see. And then Scotty Miller, I believe he might be that slot receiver that you're looking for. A little quick, fast, and stuff like that. I believe he might be the slot. And then you have also Taylor Heineke. I believe he's going to be a solid veteran backup for Ritter. They've already announced that Ritter is the starter, and I'm not mad at that. A lot of people are saying that maybe we should pick up a quarterback in the draft and everything like that. I don't know. Ritter only had 4 games to play, or starting last year. To play as well. I like what I saw. He kept improving every game. So I'm glad to see that. That's what you want to see. You put him in, and he had tough games. He had to play the Saints away in the Saints Stadium. That's tough. Oh my God, that's tough. And then they played, I believe, the Ravens. That's another tough team. The Bucks. So I believe he did what he needed to do in order, to keep the trust of Arthur Smith and everybody else, and all the coaches and everything like that. So I want to see. I'm curious to see what he's going to do this season, having the reps from the beginning, having the first team reps in training camp and everything like that. So I want to see what happens. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. I think he's going to do all right. I hope he does all right. So we'll see how that goes. And then next, we're going to talk about all these dang Saints players. I absolutely hate the Saints. That's me, That's our rivalry. That's who I can't stand. So we picked up a lot of Saints players, but you got to think. We picked up 3 Saints players, but you got to think. We have the Saints' former GM, Terry Fontenot, and then we have now the former co-D coordinator and the D-line coach in Ryan Nielsen. with us now as our D line coach, our D coordinator. I'm sorry. So, I mean, what do you expect? So two of the players for sure are. I think they wanted to come with their coach. They did their greatest stuff under Ryan Nielsen, and I think they wanted to come with their coach. He knows, he's seen them, and then you got to think Terry Fontenot too. He's seen some of those players. He still has ties with those guys, so I see why they're getting a lot of these Saints players. But oh my goodness, the Saints. But it's all good. It's all good. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited about those players, and we'll see how they do. Right. And last but not least, I'm gonna give them a grade. I believe the Falcons, for their free agency offseason, got an A+. I am a defensive fan, and so that only makes sense for me to want to give them that grade. They picked up so many defensive players and everything like that, so I believe that's a great. I believe it was a great free agency, and just the amount of players that we were able to pick up. I think all these players will help. Granted, we get their get them together during training camp and get their camaraderie going and stuff like that, and just getting them comfortable in the systems and everything like that. Hopefully, it all pans out, so it wouldn't be a free agency bust. It won't be a bust. I believe a lot of these players are going to really help us out. I think, like I said, our D line is just off the rip with just Calais Campbell and Omanyata are just. It's just, I think we're a top tier D line now. You know what I'm saying? I think we can do that. And just we'll see what Jeff Okudah does. If he can lock down those receivers like they thought he was going to be able to, and like last year he looked pretty good last year. If he can lock them down, I think we're going to do all right, because we already know AJ can do it. We already know he can do it. So I give them a grade A+. A+. We're going to do that. So I want y'all to comment down below what grade you give the Falcons for their free agency offseason. If you agree with me, or if not, let me know down there, and I will definitely go in the comments and we're going to talk about it, and leave the reason why you're leaving that grade. If you're leaving a bad grade, leave the reason why. If you're giving a great grade, put the reason why. Just we're gonna talk about it in these comments. All right, so that's all I have for today, y'all. So that's it. This is I am Chase. This is the Falcons Edge, and we'll see you next time. All right.